Life comes at you sometimes and you're not exactly sure how the day is going to play out. Boy, did the day surprise me? A little bit, yes it did. But I'm here. It's now 12:48. That would be 18 minutes late for our appointment with Fear Free Living. So welcome to the program. Welcome to our time together. I am teaching you the life skill of fear free living. And what I've been doing is laying a foundation because I've been offline now for a while. I was doing live streams, daily live streams for quite a while, and then took a little break. And then I decided I needed to come back because now more than ever, we have a density issue. We have a destiny to go after. We have things that need to happen. We're in the middle of a grand, great global awakening. Unfortunately, the media is not going to tell you that. The media is not going to tell you that Earth citizens all across the world right now are fighting for their rights and their freedoms and their body autonomy and freedom and from tyrannical governments and global pressures, and they're rising up and speaking out and showing up in places, and you're never going to see it in the mainstream news. But when you catch glimpses of it through alternative media, you realize we are at the cusp of a massive worldwide awakening. And that awakening means we have to have more inside of us than we think is out there. It's like our internal pressure is bigger and able, right, to handle the pressure of culture and that's weighing in on us. It's kind of like when you go scuba diving, you feel the weight of all of that water around you as you're moving in that environment. And you have to be really aware of how deep you can go and what your responsibility is and how you're oxygenating and moving around in inner space in the ocean, because the pressure, there's like 33 pounds per square inch or something. No, PSA is pounds per square inch. And so when every time you descend and go deeper when you're scuba diving, there's an atmosphere of pressure every so often. There's amount of pressure that you engage with as you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I feel like we've been at doing a deep dive in globalism, a deep dive in the midst of control, a deep dive in the midst of panic, a deep dive in the midst of, of, of pressure to conform, to be afraid, and to give up, like I said, our bodily autonomy and our rights. And now that has been coming against us, and we have actually had to learn the skill of how to be alive, awake, aware, and functioning under the PSI, so to speak, the pounds per square inch of media, peer pressure, and government pressure all around us in so many different ways. Well, now more than ever, it's time for the individual to arise and to contribute what it is we have to contribute. Because have you noticed nobody's coming to the rescue in the way that we thought? We all have our heroes, we all have our leaders, and believe me, I still have my heroes. I still think something amazing is going to happen. I still think 2020 ain't over and done with. But my point is that the pain of feeling the atmospheric pressure reaching in on us with the next new crisis, the next new variant, the next new thing that is foisted upon us and echoed constantly as if it were true, just because somebody says it over and over, just because you're surrounded by people who say the same things. Honestly, that's not a benchmark of truth. Truth is the daughter of time, not of authority, Francis Bacon said. Truth is the daughter of time, not the daughter of authority. In other words, what's really true, when it comes out, it manifests in reality. It's the daughter of reality played out over time, not the daughter of the big loud voices and authorities that tell you what to believe. So time has taken its toll. Time over the last, 9, 10 months. Time, pressure, atmospheric pressure on us. And we're learning to expand from the inside, overcoming fear to say, no, you know what, you're not gonna, compress me into your little narrative, into your reality, into your pressure. And I'm going to expand out into my environment and take back what is mine. If we take that idea a little bit farther, and you think about, for example, a submarine, what's the biggest thing, honestly, that I think they have to think about when engineering for deep dives? It is the container having the strength to handle all those atmospheres of pressure, all the psi, all the pounds per square inch, the pressure, right? And so we are building that container, that ability to have strength and resilience in the midst of the pressure, so we can deal with the deep, so we can expand our lungs and expand our life. And so now more than ever, it's really, really important that we live fear free. And the first thing you have to do in order to live fear free is to question. One of the first things, there's a lot of things. Question authority. Question authority. Do you know that was a real virtue in the 1960s and 70s? Everyone questioned authority. They said question authority. Now, I was pretty young in the 60s. And so when authority was really being questioned, it was so counterculture, and it was very scary. And some of it perhaps was destructive. But I'll tell you what, there was something about that we have to learn, to say, just because you're the president of this or the commissioner of that, just because you're Fortune 500, just because you're big pharma, just because you're big WHO or CDC or whatever, actually, you should be questioned more. You have to be questioned more because you have more responsibility and influence. Science, my friends, is never settled. Science must always be tested. If it's real science, it's really the scientific method. You can take something apart, find a causal issue, create that cause, and reproduce what it is, the phenomenon that you're seeing, to prove that it actually exists. Science must at all times be tested, or it isn't science. It's propaganda. It's control. Science is never settled. Neither, my friends, should authority figures go unquestioned in our lives. We should always be asking the deeper questions, like, where, follow the money. Where does the money go? Who's making money off of this? Who benefits from fear? Who benefits from control? I'll guarantee it's not you, and it's not your health, and it's not your safety. And so that's the big picture. This, in our lives, we have to ask the question, we have to question the authority of the bullying thoughts in our head. The bullying thoughts that tell us that we're not going to be okay if we color outside the lines, that we're not going to be okay if we do question authority. We're not going to be okay if we don't go along with the pressure to avoid the pain. So there are always authority figures in our head, and the ones that are the most influential are usually the ones that make us afraid. And so questioning authority, the authority of your own thoughts, the authority of what you allow in your head to tell you what you're capable of at all times. It's very, very important to question authority at all levels, even God, right? If it's really true, if something's really, really true, it can stand up to deep and meaningful questioning. You can never have a real faith without real doubts. Which means that when we're afraid, we have to stop and ask the question, what is this? What is this message? Who is saying this? Why is it coming against me? Is it true? Or am I experiencing something that is manipulative and traumatizing, and is the echo of a trigger in my mind from something that happened before, or something I learned to believe, or something that was foisted upon me? Fear-free living is the relentless pursuit of truth. Because fear has told you a story about yourself. whether it comes from big whatever out there or whether it comes from big bully thoughts inside you. Fear always tells you a story. And guess what? It's always a lie. Fear can't tell you the truth. I really, really believe that. Fear does not tell you the truth. Now, if you see a snake wander across and you have to have an experience of fight or flight, acute stress response, because you're pulling away from a danger, it serves a purpose. But in a psycho-emotional level, to live in fear is to live without critical thinking, is to live in manipulation, is to be leveraged, and is to believe that you're not safe, you're not okay, unless you do what stick it to the man, the authoritarians tell you. And I've learned to question them deeply. And guess what? There's freedom on the other side. There's peace on the other side. There's strength on the other side of questioning the authority of the thoughts that have beat you up, as well as the authorities that are trying to get us to give up all of our rights to be safe. It's important because fear tells us a lie. Fear tells us a story, and it's a lie. There's always more to the story, especially where control, manipulation, and money are involved. So think about that, and think about the fact that in order to be fear-free, you have to determine you will question authority, even the authority of your own thoughts, even the authority of the things you've donated over to God and said, well, God does this and God doesn't do that and God's in control. And really, it's time to go in deeper and start asking questions. What I really believe about him. Is it true? Is that who he really is? Or is that what my pain tells me? Is that what my fear tells me? Have I shortened him in stature? Have I limited him into my little box? Or have I abdicated my responsibility in the wake of a religious paradigm? Question authority. Question authority, especially the ones that wield the most power in your life. Question authority. Question the authority of the bullies in your head that tell you over and over what you can't, what you aren't, how you're going to hurt, how you're going to be damaged, how you're going to fail. Question authority. To be fear-free is to be a relentless seeker of the truth, because I'll tell you what did Jesus say? The truth will set you free. It really does set you free. There's pain in it because you have to look at things you didn't want to accept, that you didn't want to believe. What if your most trusted sources are the most abusive? What if your most trusted sources are the most propagandistic, right? It's painful, but it's worthwhile because the truth really does set us free. It really does. So that's what, even if it's hard, even if systems we've trusted in have to crumble, we're set free when we learn to take responsibility. We're set free when we learn to, question authority and follow the money. That's exactly right. So fear-free living is a relentless questioning of authority to establish truth, to seek truth. Because remember, truth is the daughter of time, not of authority. Right? But I'll tell you what, you'll live in an authoritative life when you're walking in truth that brings the freedom for you to face things, the freedom for you to step up fully into your calling, into your relationships, and so that you are no longer withdrawing and giving away your power, your agency, your ability to something else to keep you safe or to avoid pain or whatever that is. That whole thing's about. So, all right, I did my thing a little bit late today, but I just wanted you to think about the responsibility of fear-free living, meaning we must question authority and we must seek for truth, even if it's painful, right? I will talk to you guys tomorrow.